Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. My name is Matthew Garrett. I'm a member here at the Church of the Covenant, and I'm also the music director, which just means I have more hats to wear and I'm busier. That's all. But I'm so delighted that you're able to join us today for our Tuesday noon Organ Plus concert series. Whether you're here in person or you're joining us online through our YouTube channel at covenantweb.org, we're delighted that you're here. Regardless of the weather, regardless of the company, it's just nice to be together with other people that enjoy good music. You can see the program in front of you today. We're featuring Professor Christa Rakich from Oberlin. And as it turns out, all of September turns out to be Oberlin Month here at the Church of the Covenant. Last week we heard from our organist here at Covenant, Jonathan Moyer, also a professor at Oberlin. And next week we'll be hearing from the music intern this year at Church of the Covenant, also a student at Oberlin, Jonathan Belena. So what a nice occasion to have all of you all here from Oberlin University for this month. If you are joining us for the first time, we would love to put you on our music list. We would love to have you learn more about these programs and be on our mailing list for emails every week to kind of find out what's going on, not just for Tuesday noons, but also for our special events throughout the year. So there is a small visitor survey sheet on the back in the narthex where you came in today. If you would just fill that out and give us your information, maybe tell us a little bit about how you heard about the program, we'd be happy to put you on that list and make sure that you're included on communication moving forward. After the program is done today, Professor Rakich will be in the back of the church. Now, you all have to let her back there so that she can get back there to her fan club. But she'll be back there in the narthex to speak with you all. And you can see from her bio, she's done lots of amazing things. She's traveled internationally. She's played different places, including Japan. She's got her own website. Ask her some questions. See what she tell you at the very end of the program. So she'll be in the back along with some homemade cookies. So we've got two draws there, Professor Rakich and chocolate chips. So both of those will be back in the narthex at the end of the program. And if you haven't seen yet, we do have our brochure out for the other music events that are going on at the church throughout this coming year. We've got our Covenant Artist Series where we feature organists on particular Sundays of the year. We have a special Sunday where we're going to be performing Britain's Rejoice in the Lamb as part of our worship service on October the 12th. And then the first weekend in November, we're bringing Fare's Requiem in the chamber orchestra version to Covenant for both our choir, our organists, and also students from the Cleveland School of the Arts, our Nathaniel Dett Concert Choir. So that's a special treat that you won't want to miss. So you've heard a little bit about who we are, what we're about, a little bit about today. I think that I can stop now because we all really want to hear you play. Will you please join me in welcoming Professor Rakich to the bench?
So I'm sure you all want to know how I spent my summer vacation. I had a wonderful rhythm to my life over the summer. I got up at the crack of 9, had a coffee, sat down at a keyboard and played through some pavans and galliards of William Byrd and Peter Phillips and Philip Tredjian. The pavan and galliard is a pair of dances that were very popular in 16th century England. The pavan is a slow dance in 4, and the galliard is a faster dance in triple meter. So I would play through a pavan and galliard or two, and then I would say, okay, now make one up, and try to imitate some of the things that I had just played and incorporate them into a new piece. This turned out to be very difficult. So instead of playing an improvisation for you today, I am playing a piece that I wrote out. The pavans and galliards are very interesting. They each have 3 chunks, and they go loud, soft, loud, soft, loud, soft. Both the pavan and the galliard follow this form. It's also interesting in that there is not a consistent motive that pervades each variation, but the composers will change and become lyrical, and then suddenly dotted rhythms, and then a little dancey, and then a little somber. The galliard, in general, is more cheerful and upbeat than the pavan, but given that I was using a pre-existing harmonic pattern, that of Jesu meine Freude, the hymn, for a basis, I found it impossible at the end of the galliard to maintain my cheerful attitude. And so you'll find that the piece ends in a rather somber way, unlike the 16th century galliards that you may know. Louise Talma was a student of Nadia Boulanger, a very prolific composer. She wrote an opera, a lot of chamber music, piano music, music for small ensemble string quartets and such. She wrote most of her music at the MacDowell Arts Colony in New Hampshire. As far as I know, this is her only organ piece. It was written for the wedding of a socialite, Edith Kingdon, who married George J. Gould, who was a railroad guy, a robber baron of the Gilded Age. So I sincerely hope that Louise Talma was well paid for this piece. This quotation, of course, from the book of Ruth, "Whither thou goest, I shall go," is commonly used for weddings. And to represent it in the form of a canon is particularly wonderful because one voice follows the other. This piece is incredibly smart. The two voices are in the two hands, and they are supported by the feet which play the bass line. And it's a pure canon at the octave all the way through, even though it goes through some very dramatic changes of key and some really odd harmonic wrenching. It sort of moves in and out of pleasantry and dissonance, much in the way that relationships do. So I think this piece would have been ideal for a wedding, because you start out all bright and sunny and you think your beloved is just perfect, and then you go through some rough times and there's a little conflict creeping in. In the middle of the piece, you'll notice that the feet play parallel tense. This is the most stable part of the piece. And then it goes back to the bass being just a single line, a little more turmoil, a little more creeping down into the darkness, and then finally it resolves in a lovely, serene A major. by J.S. Bach on the tune Nun komm der Heiden Heiland, which is an Advent hymn. We'll be singing it shortly. I just want to draw a parallel between the Talma and the middle movement of the Bach. In the Talma, we heard imitative interest in the two hands, the two upper voices. After the initial ornamented choral prelude of Bach, we will hear another trio, 2 parts in the hands, 1 part in the feet. But this time, it's the two bass lines, the left hand and the pedal, that have the most imitative interest. They are both at 8-foot pitch and meant to sound like a pair of gambas quarreling with one another, or perhaps competing with one another. There's a lot of 16th notes down there. And then finally, in a organoplano, full organ, a statement of the chorale itself. Nun komm der Heiden Heiland, very clearly and very strongly in the pedal.